Oh, sorry about that. YouTube dobbed out, and it's their own stream, and it completely failed. And that's using YouTube's own software. So YouTube is rubbish, which is what I've said all these weeks and months. Right, I had this before I was so rudely interrupted by the uselessness of YouTube. I had this in bits, didn't I? This thing here. And I had the back of this open, and then I've just had I've just shut a bit up the internal bit, but this only half works at the minute because I need a power supply for it. I need a 50 volt. Turn that around so you can see what's going on. I need a 50 volt power supply for it. Just attaching you a bit more to the little tripod thing that you're on. Yeah, so I need a 50 volt power supply for this to get it going fully. So if you happen to have one, let me know. Drop me a message or something. Well, this is a bit rubbish that it's not YouTube's own software seems to be very touchy. So you get to the magic 1,000 subscribers so you can do live streaming, and the software still doesn't work. So, you know, right, I've screwed that back together. But yeah, right, 7 of you have found me again so far, so that's not too bad. So yeah, we've been using this thing. As you can see, it works. What's Dominic saying there? Did you see the picture of the elusive Mercury phone I sent you, Andy? Yes, Dominic, I saw that, the phone with the Mercury button. Yeah, it's very good, that. How much current does it need? Says Dominic. Will one of those lab bench power supply units have enough oomph? Good question. I don't know. I can't imagine that it needs a lot of current because the wires, telephone wires and that, are fairly weedy, aren't they? So I can't imagine that it needs a massive amount of current. Christopher says he's got 2 telephone exchange testers from the Geelong telephone exchange in 2017 for free. Cool. Are they anything like this then, Chris? Or are they something different? This thing theoretically will work. If I put this phone that's connected to it back on top of it, hopefully we might be able to get some life out of it. Right, so I have to remember how to do it. So there's a phone on top of it. 300 series phone is now sitting on top of it. There you see. So that phone is on an extension, and I think it's on 27. So what I have to do now is I'm not testing the line here. I'm testing into the exchange, because this box, where it wires up into a telephone exchange, what this one's actually wired into is a little PBX unit down here. You see? Can you see that? Down here. So from that that unit down there, that's wired to this. Now I've got to have a think now about how I did this. Yeah, right, that's it, I think. So if I test into the exchange and pick this up, I've got a dial tone on that. So I'm now testing into the exchange. So if I test into 27, that's going from the tester, from the extension the tester is on. It's going from there into the exchange, i.e. this PABX box down here, and then it's going out to extension 27, which is this phone up here. So I can pick that up now, and I can kind of talk to myself on there like that, you see. Now, you can also do this the other way around, because this is online. This is on 22, I think it is. So I can pick the phone up on the other extension here and dial 22. No, it's not 22. It's on. Oh, it is. And that rings on a bell set in here, you see. So I now pick this up, test exchange again, pick this up, and again I can hear myself like that. So that's testing the exchange side of it. Okay, so that's how that works. Now this only works in part. I should be able to ring an extension from this, but I can't do that, because to do that I need that 50 volts AC to do the ring, you see. So I should be able to ring an extension that's connected to this, because I can wire two phones into it. I can wire a phone to the line, which is these two connections here. This is where you wire to a line, and this is where you wire to the exchange. So imagine there's a telephone line coming from somebody's house or from somebody's office or something. That goes onto the line terminals here, LA and LB, and then you wire it up to the exchange as well, the exchange A and exchange B. So what you would do, but if you're testing a line, basically what you would be doing with this would be, they would be joined together, because you'd have a line, an extension coming in to the exchange, and so what you do is you break into that, and that's where you wire the tester in between the exchange and the telephone that's out there on the extension. So the extension is the line, so your line goes onto there, your exchange goes onto there, and that's basically how the thing works. So at the moment I can do what I can do, because I'm getting the power from the PABX to do that, this little box down here. But to test the line, I can only test through the exchange, so the exchange provides the power for the ringing. To test the line, I would need to plug another phone in onto the line socket that this is wired in between, and I would then have to press ring on here, which is oh, there it is, ring. I would have to press ring on there to make it ring like that. So that's basically how it works. Now Wesley says there's There's a BT tool transformer on eBay now. Oh, right, might have to have a look at that. Dominic says it's got a lovely ring, and so does Fat Hobbit. Yes, that's got quite a nice ring, hasn't it? It's those bell coils inside it, I think, are something similar to what you've got in a 300 series phone. That's inside this. So it's something like a 300 on the inside, really. The dial here is interesting. It's a dial 21 with a metal finger wheel on it, and it's got the special spacer, so the metal finger wheel isn't too close to the dial plate. But that was all seized up. I've had to get that going. That was all seized up. If anybody any experience of operating one of these, I'd be very interested to hear from you, because it has got a lot of switches and things on the front of it, some of which I have not got a clue what they do. You see, it's got test exchange and test line. Don't happen with anything else, don't happen with Zoom, it's just YouTube that's rubbish. YouTube really do need to get their arse into gear and make their stuff work, because it is so poor. What they need is a competitor. Always said this. What they need is a damn good competitor. Christopher says, where is he? He's disappeared. Oh, hang on. Oh, it's back up for me. It's back up for me. Yeah, everybody's saying it's back up. Fat Hobbit says, oh, I love those reel-to-reel tape recorders. Reel-to-reel tape recorders? Where have you seen a reel-to-reel tape recorder, Fat Hobbit? Tell me where you've seen it. Alright, well, tell me. See, the chat disappears off this. It just totally vanishes for like no good reason, which I'm sure it didn't used to do. I don't know if there's a way I can alter that. Albert says, I remember reel-to-reel tape recorders from old BBC recordings. Albert says, it reminds me of old Sony reel-to-reel tape recorders I have, which are solid wood on it. Oh, this is what reminds you of the reel-to-reel tape recorder. Sorry, I'm just reading back now. See the bit that I missed when the stream went down. Dominic says, it's very well made. You don't have many pieces of equipment with wood side panels these days. You don't have any, I don't think, Dominic, these days. But no, it is solid wood. It's made out of proper wood as well. I don't think it's made out of plywood. It's made out of proper wood. Probably some very rare Amazon rainforest tree that they can't make them out of now. So yeah. Right. So that's that. That's that thing that that we've now got. That is one of the most recent things to arrive. Oh, the other fairly recent thing to arrive. We were talking about candlestick telephones last week, weren't we? Here's the one that you didn't see last week. This is the fake. This is a brand new, out of probably India. And what I said to you last week about having little numbers up here, little codes up here on either side. If you look very close at this one, you'll see it's got absolutely nothing there on either side. But it is very heavy, and it is sort of made in the proper way. Jimmy says, when I used to do hospital radio, we had an old BBC reel-to-reel tape machine. And Christopher says, my testers I got are made of wood, telephone exchange testers with 332 handset on it, with a dial, and they're dated 1920. Yeah, well, there you go, Christopher. If you've got a handset and a dial, oh, the testers, that is what you're on about, is it? Right, okay. So Dominic says he's got a Sony TC7562 50 inches per second tape recorder that he got for the bargain of £50 because the bloke wanted someone to take it away. Weighs an absolute ton though. Yeah. Well, when I get it set up here, talking about hospital radio, I have got more or less a whole radio studio here. It's just that it's in boxes at the moment. But it's not a vintage studio, unfortunately. It's a fairly modern studio that is all computer controlled and that, using something called Rivendell Radio Automation. But it runs on an old Pentium 2 computer. I think it's a Pentium 2. And basically it controls a whole radio studio. And that. One of these days I'll have enough space to set it up, honestly. But yeah, there is a reel-to-reel tape somewhere in here. And I'm trying to think where it is, but I don't actually know where that is. I have got something interesting from radio station use though. Yeah. Still in the carrier bag it came in. It's not quite as old as a reel-to-reel, but it's a Marantz professional cassette deck that uses compact cassettes, as they are technically known. Put that down there so you can see. It uses compact cassettes, as they call them. That go in there. In fact, there is a cassette in it. Now the problem with this is at the moment it doesn't work. I think it needs new belts on it, and I think there might be some motors that need replacing or something in it. But the thing is incredibly well built. So I looked at getting this repaired. I looked at repairing this, and there is so much inside it. It's absolutely solid circuit boards. It's not like you take the cover off and there's one circuit board inside it. It's circuit board on top of circuit board on top of circuit board on top of circuit board. It is absolutely packed solid. If I take it out of its housing thing, because that's the fancy leather housing thing that it comes in, and then that's the actual machine itself. You see, it's got levels on it. What else has it got? Record volume, so you can do it in stereo as well. It's got stereo microphones. It's got a limiter on it, so it doesn't clip. All kinds of things on it, and another load of stuff under this little flippy out lid here. It's the most complicated cassette deck in the world. And there's just some of the ports and things that it's got. Is that in focus? But yeah, so that's a Marantz cassette deck that was used by someone in Sheffield, according to the writing on it. Somebody's written on it, but it's a CP230, and basically that was given to me because it didn't work. They said, "Hey, you can have this. It doesn't work, but you might be able to get it going." So one day we will get it going, but just probably not yet a while. Too many things to do in this world. You know, that's the problem. If there were like 8 days in a week and maybe 6 weeks in a month and maybe about 40 hours in a day, I might get somewhere. But until that happens, I probably won't get far. Right. It's an absolute work of art, and press does this. What have I done? Oh, that's what I've done wrong. I've got that under there. That goes on there. That goes on there, and that goes on there. Alright. Yeah, so that's the Marantz cassette thing. Dominic says, did you get your U-matic to work, Andy? I've got one of them working. I've not got the other one working though. I've got the one that takes the little U-matic tapes working, the 30-minute tapes. I've not got the one working that takes the hour tapes out, the big machine. I've not. It sort of spins and that, but I'm having trouble connecting it up. So there's something I think not quite right with the connectors on it. Right, I'm just scrolling through the chat. The trouble with the reel-to-reel, it's very hard to find decent tapes. So much of the second-hand stuff suffers binder turn into goop, and brand new tape costs a fortune. Sound quality on good tape is second to none though. Yeah, it is. The binder on the tape is a massive problem. For those who don't know, the way they make tape, both videotape and also cassette tape, audio tape, is basically it's a plastic tape that they then stick normally iron oxide, i.e. rust, onto, and that's why it's kind of rusty coloured. And I can remember years ago there was a programme on TV called The Secret Life of Machines with a fella called Tim Hunkin on it, who now has an excellent YouTube channel, by the way. He's resurfaced, Tim Hunkin, after many, many years, and he's now started doing a YouTube channel. Search him out, he's very, very good. But on The Secret Life of Machines, they showed you how they make tape, and what they basically did, they got a bit of sellotape, rubbed some rust onto this sellotape, and then moved it across a head in a tape machine, an audio tape machine, and managed to record onto sellotape. Granted, the sound quality wasn't that great, but they did do it to prove the concept of how it works. But the problem with the binder coming off is, and basically the rust coming off the tape, so it just leaves a plastic tape with no coating that can be magnetised on it. That problem is a particular problem if your tapes are made by Ampex. And in the world of video, a lot of the broadcast videotapes were made by Ampex, and it's what they call sticky shed syndrome, and it's a huge problem in the world of archival video and television archives, and that the BBC estimates that some of their tapes, some of their early videotapes, they can probably only play 6 times. Because so much stuff comes off every pass it has through the videotape machine. So it's a big problem. Christopher says, I can see all your N1900 phones in the background there. Yeah, that's some of them, Christopher. And that sort of, that bit there, they're sort of N1900s there in general, and other weird things as well. There's at least one ATE one on there. It's not an N1900 that was used in the mines. You want to go for a tour? All right, let me take off this sleeve mount a minute. Right, we'll turn you around and we'll take you for a tour. That black phone there, that's the ATE one. That is not actually an Ericsson. As you can see, it's got a special plate on the front of it. I've got to be careful where I step. It's got a plate on the front telling you stuff on there. That's a metal plate, that. But basically, it was used topside at coal mines and things that. Not actually down the mine, but in the offices on the surface and things. There's a very nice ivory 706 clone there as well, as you can see. And I think that's a Diacon one, with the way it's not faded at all. Dominic says, it's true, I was given a box of about 10 Ampex 1/4 inch and 10 1/2 inch reels with that tape recorder, and none of the tapes are any good. Leaves sticky residue all over the heads and transport too. Yeah, Dominic, it's probably because they're Ampex. They all do it to a certain degree, but Ampex ones do it more. So there's some of the N1900s and things for Christopher. That, then if we go over here, we've got some of the more oddball things here. We've got phones here that use a 746 shell but are DTMF phones, but look at the keypads on them. See, the keypads are not the same on them. The grey one on the left has got much smaller buttons than the one on the right. If you're wondering why I put the handsets on like this, it's purely a matter of saving space to put them on that way around, so I can get more on a shelf. Then we've got the Starlight from America that was on the show a few weeks ago. That one is sitting there. And then we've got quite a few compacts down here, including one of the rare bright blue ones. That's the rarest colouring compacts. So they are 776s, is it? Those ones. Then you've got the blue ones, the Jubilee phones, the dark blue ones, which people think are the same as those, but they're not. These were originally field trial phones ahead of the launch of the 776, but these are technically not 776s. They are a field trial phone that came back after a trial in the early to mid 70s, and then the GPO refurbished them and they went out as Jubilee phones. And then after the Jubilee, only after the Jubilee was the 776 like those actually launched. But the Jubilee ones, I've got various versions of it. So I've got it with bell sets, without bell sets. And if you come around here, somewhere, yeah, come around here, somewhere, where is it? It's there. There's a fairly rare wall mounted one. Can you see that? Needs dusting. But then you've got various strange upside down wall mounted 706 clone there. And round the corner here in the darkness there's, oh, sorry, it keeps kicking me off the stream. I don't know why it does this, but it keeps kicking me off. I won't be doing this again because YouTube's equipment is rubbish. YouTube software. Christopher says, do the N1900s work? Yes, Christopher, basically. Pretty much all of them do work, yeah. So there's some of those. This is the interesting shelf here, because this is the American shelf up here. So these are 500s and things up here, including, when you get to this end, some early ones with metal finger wheels. Because America did exactly the same as we did. They started out with metal finger wheels and then went to plastic ones, although America went to the plastic ones a lot earlier than we did here. Then you come down here. On the end there is what looks like an American 500, but it's not. It's an Irish one. And then we get into 706s here. And then there's a mixture of things on these shelves, working your way down here. Another thing that I have in the collection here that the eager eyes of you may have already spotted is there are thousands and thousands and thousands of records that I am trying to find a good home for. If anybody is a record collector out there, get in touch with me, because as you can see, there are lots and lots and lots, particularly lots of 78s that I'm trying to find a home for, because basically I just haven't got room for everything. and stuff. Last time I was on, somebody was also asking about the posters on the wall behind me. These are original movie posters. There's one there for the original Mummy, something about Mary, Blair Witch Project. They're all sort of that era, and they all came out of a cinema, what they called the UCI 10 cinema, that is now closed and demolished, actually, a place called Crystal Peaks near Sheffield. Christopher says, I've got a 500 set from 1961, so that one will probably have a plastic finger wheel then, I guess, Christopher. It's from 1961. Dominic says, how's your 232 restoration coming along, Andy? 232 restoration? Wasn't I doing a 232? Oh yeah, yes, yeah. Wesley says, I feel for your loft floor joists. Yes, Wesley, so do I. Particularly, the heaviest thing up here is those records. 78 records. For anybody that hasn't got any 78 records, you won't appreciate it. But 78 records are incredibly heavy. Incredibly heavy. You know, you can pick a stack of maybe 20 vinyl LPs up, fine. But 78, you pick up about 5 and it's heavy. It's really, really, really heavy. But yeah, I do sometimes wonder if this floor is going to start moving. But luckily it's an old house and was very over-engineered when it was built. So I think we'll probably get away with it for yet. But yeah. Oh, I didn't show you this shelf down here, did I? So we've got some more ivory 746s. Then we've got the red shelf here with a 706 at the end. That actually is a bit of a mismatch. That was a black phone, but I had a red case. I put a red case on it. That's why it's got a black cord still. A 706 that has been rebuilt without the alphanumeric bezel. Then we have two 746s. That's a Mark II. That one is a Mark I. And somewhere there is also a Mark I 746 that's got the alphanumerics on in red as well, and a black one as well somewhere. And then the next level we go to topaz yellow. So these are 746s. These two are Mark IIs. These two are Mark Is. And across the way here, there's two 706s in topaz yellow with the yellow, original yellow alphanumeric dial surrounds on them, dial bezels. But the bezels sort of fade to white over the years, but they are original, or were originally, yellow ones. You can see one of them's had a new finger wheel fitted at some point in its life, but that's the way I got it. More grain phones at the bottom, because every time you buy a coloured phone you seem to have to buy a grey one with it. Then we come up and there's all sorts here. There's a 300 series there coming up, and then we get into the green department as we go up here. And then right above my head, I can hardly reach, and because they're the only things that fit in that shelf because of the shape of the roof, that's the contemporary department up there. You can see there's 4 brown contemporaries up there. And we'll come down a bit, and we've got a blue 706 there, another ivory 746, and then a 706 on a plan set base there, which I'll get going one of these days with the plan set base on it. And if you're watching a few weeks ago when we had the gondola phone on, from Spain, there they are. There's both of them. There's both the Spanish gondolas there, based on an American design, but they are actually Spanish, those two. And a blue trim phone alongside them. One of the Onyx phones. I would call them Mrs. Bucket phones, although that, I don't think that is a British one, because if you look at it, there's no way to put the dial label in the middle because of the way the dial attaches. I think that is actually a foreign one that's been imported. So yeah, and then sort of over this side, there's a little switchboard there. I think that's similar to yours, isn't it, Christopher? That switchboard there. And then there's a row of trim phones up there as well, of all colours, including a red one. Who's got a red one? Is it Dominic's got a red one? There's one there, look, Dominic. I think it was Dominic who's got a red one, isn't it? There's one there. You see? So Very cool. Right. What is everybody saying in the chat? Let's see if I can spin around and catch up with it. Right. My phone is red hot. This is really heating my phone up. Right. Let me set it back to live chat so I can see everything that you've said. Dominic says, are they different manufacturers on the push button phones? Might explain the button sizes. Yeah, I think they are, Dominic. Yeah. Penfold says there were 2 different dial stickers for the Jubilee phones. One with English crown and the other with the Scottish crown. Yeah, they're not stickers. It's actually cast into the plastic of the dial opal. But yeah, you're right. There is an English one and a Scottish one. Have I got both sorts? The simple answer is I don't know. I've never looked. I've never checked because they're very subtle differences, I believe. Dominic says, I'm sure eBay would snap those records up. Yeah, the problem is posting them though, Dominic. And people are such a pain on eBay. What condition is it in? And oh dear, can you send more photos? And can you send me more photos? What condition is it in? What are all the titles? I'm not interested. I just want somebody to come with a big van and take them all away. You know, so I just can't be doing with eBay. The people are just such a pain. You know, I never ask a question when I buy something on eBay. I look at the photo. I often don't even read the description. I just look at the photo, boom, and hit it. You know, and take the chance. But some people, oh my God, questions on eBay. Wesley says, are you planning to do any videos on your Howard Bantam? I might, Wesley. I might. And there are a few videos out on eBay about on YouTube rather about Howard Bantams. But yeah, I might do. I want to get it out again. Christopher's been filming 2 steam locomotives apparently. Dominic says, yes, the red trim phone's mine. I've uploaded the completed Micromen style dial for it on Flickr recently. Excellent. That is very good. Right, we're getting somewhere. It's unbelievable how hot running the YouTube app makes your phone. It's absolutely boiling hot, this phone. Right, and I can't plug it in to charge it. Because if I plug it in to charge it, it gets even hotter. Right, I'll put it back on there a minute. Penfold says, I saw on Facebook group GPO telephones, somebody put replace the tritium vial on trim phone with isotopes betalites. Yeah. I shall have to have a look. Don't generally do Facebook. Facebook's just a pain, isn't it? So I don't generally do Facebook, but I might have to have a look at that. Christopher has been experimenting with putting an LED behind dials, and it seems to work quite well, which is what they do on those up there, on those gondola phones. So I may give that a go. Oh, it's time for Jimmy to leave us. Bye, Jimmy. See you next week. Penfold says these isotopes betalites are expensive. Michael says, hi Andy, is CNET connected up there? CNET is connected, but it's not actually up here at the moment. I can move it up here. I can have CNET up here. But if I have it up here, I can't have it downstairs as well, because it has to come through an ATA that is relatively near the phone because of the way things are set up at the moment. I have connected it up here before. What I might do is put one of my CNET numbers downstairs on an ATA, and one upstairs. So there's one up here, but it is on at the moment, Michael. CNET. If you want to use it, it should be up and running at the moment. And Christopher, if you're still around and listening, I hope you got my email about your friend joining CNET as well, because I've set them some numbers up. Cool. Right, where are we with this chat thing? It just keeps disappearing, this chat. It's really annoying. I should be so glad next week when I'm back on my computer. Dominic says he's going to use his glow in the dark paint method for trim phones. I think that is probably the best way to do it, actually, Dominic. Well, maybe it's the easiest way to do it, let's say, and it's reversible as well, if you want to take it out again, isn't it? So that's quite a good thing, I think. Michael says he likes the NIST time signal on CNET. Christopher says, can you show a GPO74L phone? Ooh, that's an interesting question, Christopher. And I've got a couple somewhere up here, but where are they lurking? Right, hang on a minute, I might have to disappear off camera a second. You're in a luck, Christopher. I managed to grab it. That is a 746L. A lot of people say these don't exist. They say, oh, the alphanumeric nail bezel, that was never on a 746. Well, here's proof. It was, and it is. Doesn't say 746L on them though. Underneath, it does only say 746, if you can see that. Doesn't have the L or the F. It only says 746. Obviously, the year this was done, it's a Mark 1 case. You can see there by the shape of where the handset goes down. And of course, this dial bezel on it is painted on the back. So on the front, there's no way you can scratch the numbers off because they're painted on the back, and it's held in with a metal clip from the inside. So that's totally genuine. That one's from 1971. I've got another one. I've got a black one as well somewhere. So Christopher says only 746L phones from 1968 to 1971. Michael says, how about an 8746G? Still need a red body for mine. 8746G. What does the G stand for, Michael? Derek says, I'm still undecided about putting an alphanumeric on my 1969 Red Mark 1746. I think by 1969 it was about 50-50 whether they had alphanumerics. I think it depends on the area the phone was used in, and whether you still had dialing by dialing letters, whether you still had long distance dialing by dialing the letters of the exchange, or whether it had gone over to numbers in your area. That's what the deciding factor was. But certainly in the early 1970s they were still delivering them with alphanumerics on, because there is, I think it's on YouTube somewhere, a GPO official film of one of their engineers delivering a phone to a farm, and the phone that they're delivering to that farm is exactly one of these, a red 746 with that dial bezel on it. That's how I first knew they existed, and then I went searching for them. And of course they're very difficult to spot on eBay, because there are so many reproductions and things on eBay that these genuine ones are very, 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 very difficult to spot. But there's one, and I've got a black one somewhere. I think they're the only two colours I've got though. So interesting that I've got a red one, which is probably the hardest colour to find, and I've not got like an ivory one. So, right, I have to turn that like that again so it'll go back on the shelf. There's 15 people watching us at the minute. Do us a favour, folks. If you're watching, hit that thumbs up button, and that helps YouTube spread the video and tell more people about it. Right, I'm just putting that back on the shelf. Which is no mean feat, let me tell you, because of where it is. Hello, I'm back. Yeah, it keeps stopping. I think it's because the phone's getting so hot. And the phone will be running out of charge in a minute as well. And I can't charge it, because if I charge it, it'll get even hotter. Chris says, I got a PMG 400 series phone with the UK dial 12 on it. Yes. Did they not have 746 phones out there as well for a while, Christopher? Or 706 phones out there for a while? Or was that New Zealand I'm thinking of? Dominic says, red wall phones were supposedly only issued in fire stations, but desk phones in red were general issue. Yeah, now I was having this conversation with somebody about red wall phones in fire stations the other day. And I have a feeling it's an urban myth, because I've never seen one. But what I have seen that they did certainly issue into some fire stations were two-tone grey wall phones with a red dial bezel on them. And if you think about it, they could make that up out of standard parts, couldn't they? But would it really be worth casting wall phone cases in red just for fire stations? I'm not convinced. So I'm not saying it didn't happen, but certainly some fire stations had grey ones with a red dial bezel on. Whether other fire stations had totally red ones or not, I don't know. But something that is on its way to me is a red upside down 706, i.e. a 706/1 or whatever they call them, a wall mounted 706, and that is red. So I'm wondering if that is what got used in fire stations. So I'll be interested to see if I can figure out a bit of the history of that when it arrives. It may be here, in fact it should be here, in time for next week's show. So we'll try and figure it out for then, for the show next week. We'll try and get that on next week, because it's one of a batch of phones that should hopefully be arriving in the next few days. Right, how are we getting on? The chat's disappeared again, so I can't see what people are saying. Word says, I fully agree there from the current supply of new cases. Yeah, most of the red ones that you see now, Wesley, are from the current supply of new cases. People like Britphone make them. Chris said, did you get the email about the switchboard at the station I sent? Yeah, I've got them all, Christopher. I just can't show them on here because, like I say, I'm not near my computer. Penfold says, is that with the handset bracket? Yes, Penfold. When they put a 706 on the wall, they fit a weird handset bracket to it. You can do it with 746s as well, but the bracket that you fit to a 746 is different. But yeah, the handset bracket is a separate thing. There's one on the wall up here, isn't there? Right. Here you go through here. Right. Here. Right. Here you go. This is a 706 clone. This is actually, I think this is actually an Ericsson phone, this one. And something or other. But that's the oddball bracket thing that they fit. Sort of chromed bracket, which means when you put the handset on the hook, it's the side of the handset that presses the switch hooks in, not the bottom of it. You see? I think it's quite a neat solution. I quite like it. That what people have against it is that the cord hangs down, of course, because the handset is at the bottom, not at the top. But when the cord stretches, as they do, even on a proper wall phone like that, it still hangs down, you see. So yeah. But I think they're quite a neat solution, and I think a red version of that may be what they add in fire stations. Well, there's a push button one there. Now that's a 746 case, of course, that one. It's not actually a 746 phone because of the keypad, but you can see the thing is different there. It doesn't actually attach to the switch hooks because it can't, because it's done differently. It actually goes up and inside where the carrying handle is on a 746, and then you attach it with a couple of screws, a couple of self-tapping screws. But the idea is exactly the same. So you get a wall phone like that. But they're some of the most unusual things. These upside down phones, as I call them, are some of the rarest things. Some of the rarest versions of the standard 700 series phones you can find. So if you find one of them, you're doing quite well. Right, things keep pinging at me. Who's saying what? Christopher says 706 and 1900 phones were only used on Australian railways, not on the normal Australian system. Must be New Zealand then, where they had some that they were put into normal use. Where he says, I understand the supply of the new parts and cases is drying up. I don't know. I assume somebody was still manufacturing them, Wesley. So I wouldn't have thought it would dry up. I thought they'd just have to get more of them. But maybe they're not manufacturing them now. I don't know. Penfold says, thanks for showing the bracket. You're welcome, Penfold. Wesley says he's heard that the proprietor of Britphone is retiring, he thinks. Maybe, I don't know. The gentleman who supplies Britphone is unwell, Wesley thinks. So, right. I don't know who supplies Britphone. I would have thought they were being made in a factory somewhere. I just kind of assumed somebody had got a set of molds, you know, maybe had got a set of molds from the 70s and a set of plastics casting factory on and making the bits. You know, make them a batch when they want a batch sort of thing. I just assumed that was how Britphone was doing it. But I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know the Britphone people. So I can't say for definite. Whereas he says he thinks the operation that manufactured them was much more of a cottage industry than you might perhaps think. Well, it's a good cottage industry if it's got injection moulding machines. That's all I can say, because aren't they quite big injection moulding machines? I do know somebody who was offered once a set of the mould to make cases for 746s and that. And he said that the actual tooling, the mould tooling, the actual moulds themselves, he says were absolutely massive. And he was offered them on the proviso that he never actually made any new cases with them, and so he didn't take them up on the offer, I don't think. But he said this tooling was absolutely massive, so I just kind of assumed it was quite big. I just kind of assumed it was massive equipment sort of thing that was involved. But as I say, I don't know for certain. I've got no real idea as to what it was like at all. I've not actually seen the equipment, and like I say, I don't know the people at Britphone, so I don't quite know what's going on there. I do know that very few of the parts are actually exactly the same spec that was made. So that's a bit of a problem for me, in that I can, there's very little of those remanufactured parts that I can use because they're manufactured to the right spec, particularly the dial bezels, because they are coloured bezels that they have, like 746 type bezels with the little plastic clips on the back, and then they screen print the alphanumerics on the front, which is totally wrong. So I don't use them at all. I've never bought a one. But manufactured stuff to the correct spec, they would have done a lot better. I feel. So anyway, that's about it. You've had a little tour of the loft there. I hope you've enjoyed your look around. You've only kind of seen the tidy bit. You've not seen the untidy bit and the big stack of boxes and the stuff that I have to keep tripping over every time I try and walk around in here. Will we stop collecting anytime soon? Well, I'm picking up about another 14 phones next weekend, so so we'll find out what's happening there. And somebody else I know, while we've been on air actually today, has sent me a text message to say he's just won 30 phones on eBay in one go. So so quite a lot of phones coming in over the next few weeks and stuff. One or two people have been asking me if I restore phones for people. I've had this asked of me a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. So the answer to that one is yes. I do restore phones for people who want them restoring. The best way to do it is contact me through the website andyshed.coldpress.net. Send me a message using the contact us form on there, andyshed.coldpress.net. Send me a message on that contact us form, and then I'll get back to you by email. But yeah, I do restore them for people who want them restoring and getting work in it and stuff. Yeah, I do. But send me a message on there. Let me know what you've got, basically what you want doing to it, and I'll give you a price of what it I think it would probably cost to do it. But yeah, so there. Right. Right. It's probably about time for me to go. As I say, thanks very much for watching this unusual episode from the loft. Thanks to our Patreon people as well, who are now part of our Patreon team. If you would like to support us on Patreon as well, then you can do so. Go to patreon.com/AndyShed. That's patreon.com/AndyShed. And if you basically support us for, I think it's, I never know if it's $1 or £1 a month, what it works out at. But for one of those currencies a month, you can support us. Get your names on the credits when we do the show downstairs, and we actually have credits on the show because there won't be credits on this one today. Get your name on the credits, and also there's exclusive content that comes out in the week for Patreon supporters as well. Little posts and photos and things that generally comes out in the middle of the week. But that is about it from me for now. I will just check the chat again before I go any further. Right, people are talking about these moles and things. Wesley says, I think the operation that manufactured those phones was much more cottage industry than you think. It was the original molds, I believe. I bought some parts direct from him, but he ended up selling directly to Britphone. I think most of the molds are from the 80s by the looks of it. Dominic says, is your 232 up in the loft, Andy? Which 232 are we talking about, Dominic? Are we talking about that one? I don't think we're talking about this one, are we? This one is a recent acquisition, this one. I think this one's a recent one. It's missing a cap off its handset, as you can see there. But yeah, this is a recent one. But I don't think that's the one I was doing before. Dominic says there's a bit of controversy tonight. He's having ham and pineapple pizza. I had one of those the other week, Dominic. It was horrible. Yeah, it's a Dominic Meakin Hawaiian. Doesn't sound kosher, that pizza. No, I don't think it is kosher. Right, I think I've got there in the chat. Fat Hobbit says, I hope you're insured. You have some real treasures in your loft. Yeah, it's getting to be a problem because they're kind of outgrowing the loft, to be honest with you, Fat Hobbit. One day, I'm hoping one day we'll be able to set up some kind of a museum thing or something somewhere one of these days, or have a spot in a bigger museum. But yeah, it would be good to do something like that. Christopher says, I was told by one of YouTube fans who works on the railways at Flinders Street had 100 N1900 phones and they removed them in the 1990s, and I was told my N1970B phone came from Epping Station. Epping? What? Epping as in Epping near London? Epping? Or have you got an Epping over there as well? Wesley says, I've got a 2p receiver and some carbon transmitters here for you, Andy. Brilliant, Wesley. You're an absolute star. Don't know if I've got your email address, Wesley. Can you go on the website and send me well what you basically do is go to the contact us form on andyshed.coldpress.net and send a message on there, and then that pings me an email, and then I can email you back. Fat Hobbit says the museum would be a fantastic idea. Yeah, yeah. We'd quite like to do that, but it's finding somewhere to do it in. That's the problem. Christopher says the Epping is Epping in Australia, so it's not Epping near Ongar then. Thought it had gone a long way, that phone, if it was Epping near London. Right, cool. Right, I think we're getting there. So yeah, this is one of the pyramid phones. This one arrived in the middle of the lockdown. Actually, this one. My battery is low apparently. No surprise there. Yeah. This. Right, I'm back on apparently. Right, I absolutely must go because everything is breaking down here. The phone's getting too hot and the battery's running out, and I can't charge it up because if I charge it up, it gets even hotter. But I'll show you more about this in a future episode. But for me, for now, have a great week ahead, everybody, and we'll be back to normal, hopefully, with a computer that works next week. So from us here for now, remember, join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AndyShed if you want to catch some midweek updates. Watch out for a new Escape the Shed coming out soon as well, of railway and canal interest. But for me, for now, have a fantastic week ahead, and we'll see you next time for another Andy Shed Live. Bye for now.